Welcome back to Earth. Or at least Earth as it is in X3. X3 Litcube to be exact. Now if you don't know what that is, don't worry, I'll explain. Because we've all been playing X4 pretty recently, yesterday at least, and a few people are dissatisfied with the sort of later game in that I think it's not been fleshed out just quite just yet, or indeed there are bugs that cause war not to erupt when it should. I thought we'd take a look at the best, well, at least I think the best, example of late X3 changes before we got into X4. Litcube is a complete conversion of X3. Meaning that pretty much everything has changed, that I can think of anyway, aside from the very, very basic game mechanics. And it produces a much harder game, a much more aggressive game, and indeed a game you can lose quite easily. Okay, so I am warning you now, you and I can indeed lose this game. However, the number of things that it actually changes almost makes you want to use this as the base game for X3 at all, completely, and then sort of turn down the difficulty or turn off those extra factions if you don't like them, if they're far too hard. Let me explain what it changes, then maybe you'll get the idea. It replaces the entire mining system. And that mining system, remember those crystals we got in X4? Well, yep, they exist in X3, and you get millions, but you have to have the specific mining system to actually do it. You can't just shoot a roid. You have to go and take unfortunately your mining ship out there, or at least get another ship to do it. It replaces the complexes. So remember in X3, if you played X3 at all, linking multiple stations together ended it with pipes all over the place. You had to be really exact to get it perfect. You can still do that, but there is a new type of complex called a Saturn Complex Hub in Litcube that basically makes you create a single station and you install other stations inside of it. Now, that sounds a lot like X4 system. This one isn't so visual. You don't have to snap everything together in a mini game, but you do have to haul stuff out there to that complex, that station hub, if you like, and install them into it. So that's just a menu system driven thing, but it is there, so you aren't cheating by doing it. It changes all kinds of other things too. So what else have we got on the list? Everything from when ships bail out and get abandoned, that can happen to all over the universe now. Loot can drop from ships when you destroy them. You can lots of new models for the ships, a military complex. It goes on and on. The biggest two threats in the game in Litcube are the Fanon Corporation, which is just like your corporation, if you like. They're just given a head start with many millions of credits. You are sort of competing with them, and they may well shoot down your ships. And the Omicron Channel Virus, or OCV. They're like the Xenon, but super buffed. As far as I understand, they are ridiculous. And they're the real endgame challenge. You may well even die before you get there, but they are there in the system. And there's a huge range of other changes that basically adds more complexity, sort of more fun and intricacy to the whole systems of the game. So why don't we get started? And then maybe if you're interested, do give the video a like or comment below on questions you've got, whether you want to try it or not. It is based on Albion Prelude, not Terran Conflict. So if you want to get this, it's obviously a free mod, but it's on top of Albion Prelude. So if you've got Terran Warpack, that's usually around £15 or so. You usually get it cheaper in sales, but I'll have a look for some links and put them in the description for that. You'll get both games with Terran Warpack. That's both Terran Conflict and Albion Prelude, which are sort of very similar games. But, you know, we'll get to that later. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to be using the hotkeys more. You can do everything with the mouse, of course, just like you did in previous games. You'll notice the UI has been overhauled. It does look a lot nicer than in default X3. And you can see we have a radar there at the bottom right. We have our sidebar here, just as we have in the map screen in X4. Except it's there permanently. You can turn it off if you wanted to. But you can get through things with mouse, but it helps if you learn the keys. It just means it's a lot easier and faster. In fact, one of the big changes in the Litcube is that the menu system is much faster by default. There's no like slight delay in the animations of all the menus. So if I want the map comes up. If I want my property, it comes straight up. There is no animation involved every single time you're trying to get through these screens. With that said, why don't we get started then? So let's go into my property owned by pressing R, and I have 3 ships by default in this particular star. Now this particular star doesn't come with X3 Litcube, but I have also put a link below if you want this start. It just basically moves our start to Earth and gives us some credits. You obviously can still, travel to Earth from the other starts. So there is one that starts as a trader, and that will start at Argon Prime. Just as we've been doing in X4, it has Argon Prime nearby. However, since I thought thematically it might be nice to have a change, we've got Earth in the background. This is the only one that mentioned Earth, so I just picked it. And I think it's called Daughter of Earth or something along those kind of lines anyway. But I'll put a link in the description. Alright, so what are we going to do? So first of all, I'm going to go and upgrade my ship. And then I'm just going to tell our other ships to go dock with the only station in the Earth system for some reason. Not quite sure why there's only one, but hey, let's get started. So we're going to go to C to communicate, and then tell it to navigate with 1, and then dock 4. And we'll just tell it to dock at Earth and Earth Taurus, which is the only system here. And we'll do the same thing with this. So C1 4, and then press enter twice, and it'll go there. I've already got this selected, so oops, now I've got it selected. Press Shift D to dock, just like in X4, and we'll start heading over there. You'll see that tiny little ship that's just zoomed off into the distance is the Scoutship you get. It's the Rapier, I think. Rapier is an M5, I think? Yeah, so it's a kind of really small scout. The one we start with is a Cutlass, that's an M3 that we're currently sitting in. It's quite a useful ship. And then that Baldric, I'm thinking of Blackadder. Sorry, I can't help it, I'm English. My Baldric is a TS ship, so it's basically a cargo ship that we're not going to need. At least I want the credits from it, and we'll use those credits for other things. So we're going to head over to the station. I'm going to press J to enable CETA. CETA, I've missed you. It is available in X4, by the way, but you do have to go and shoot Xenon and pick up modules and then assemble it that way. Okay, so let's skip forwards until I'm docked, and then we can have a look what we do on the station. While we're approaching dock, there is one other thing that I wanted to talk about with Albion Prelude. By default in Albion Prelude, if you just play the base game, the vanilla game, there is a start where you can manipulate the stock market. The stock market's new in Albion Prelude. It doesn't exist in Terran Conflict. However, you can just sit there with CETA and manipulate it and gain more and more and more credits. Nope, that's not happening in Litcube. First of all, you can't even access the stock market until you've got a station nearby. And even when you have a station, it's not the same system that exists in the base game. It's more like the real stock market, that you can't really exploit it that much. It goes up and down. You can invest in it and maybe gain some credits over time, but it's certainly not a priority for the first hour or two of the game. Okay, so we're at the station now. Why don't we have a look? Let's see. I'm just going to let's go to, well, in fact, yeah, I'm going to trade with my ship. So I'm going to get some upgrades. Advanced satellites are different in Litcube. They are much higher range than in the base game. So although you will want to put them everywhere, just like in the base X3 game, not necessarily in X4, depends, you will get much higher range. So you don't have to have multiple of them. Put them somewhere way out of the plane of the solar system, or that sector, sorry, and it will still cover all the sector. It'll be fine, so you won't get any interference with anything else. In fact, it's probably best to move them out of the way anyway, because then enemies can't see them, or they are too far away for the enemies to see them. And hey, you have a satellite spying on the system. So I'm going to grab about, well, can I gather about 10? Let's actually extend our ship first of all by adding some stuff. So I'm going to add all engine tunings and all rudder optimizations. That'll make me faster and turn better. And am I going to add all of those? 90. Ooh, that's only 45,000. That's actually not too bad. Yep, so I'm going to fill the cargo bay as well. So we can carry as many satellites and everything else that we want as we like. And whoops, let me just actually press page down. And you'll see the equipment down here at the bottom. This comes to the software system in X4. So you see many of the same names. So if I just pop down to the bottom, I want the triplex scanner. It's available at Earth by default, so you can take that. Much higher range to your scanner. Transporter device I'm not going to worry about just yet. Trading system extension you definitely want on all ships, pretty much. Trade command software Mark II, just in case, I'll take that. CETA we already have. I'm not going to worry about that. Quantum jump gate extension. Okay, here's a system. So in the base game you have the ability to jump with a jump drive. The extension in Litcube allows you not just to jump to gates, but also to specified points inside each sector. So there is, I think there's the center of the sector is one of the points, and then there's also like a jump beacon you can jump to. Makes it able for your trade ships to go and get the trades done faster than jumping to gates. So quite useful. Ore collector is one of the two components of the new mining system. So we don't need to worry about that just yet. And I'm going to pick up navigation command software. That'll let me fly to specific coordinates. That'll be very useful. And we can pick up a jump drive by default if we want to. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm down to 696,000, so I'm going to be a bit careful to get started with. We're going to be flying around to start with. However, I'm going to take a docking computer. So that will let me dock a lot faster if I need to. And I think we'll just pick up the other cheap stuff in here, like a cargo life support system in case we get any missions, and a boost extension, and we're pretty much done. Okay, so everything we want to install we have. Up here we've got salvage insurance that'll let you save in space. That's not available by default in X3 until you actually buy insurance. Again, I'm not going to worry about it. And then we can go to cargo bay extension. Yeah, we definitely have all of them. So we can change lots of other things and buy lots of other things. In particular, I want to buy some satellites. So I'm going to buy 15 or so. And that'll leave me with 471,000. Okay. And then we're going to sell our trade ship. But we need a shipyard to sell it to. With that in mind, then, I'm going to just get undocked. And then I'm going to personally fly. I think that's our little tiny ship. I'm going to personally fly over to the next system. So I'll press tab just to boost, like in X4. And our true speed is here, but the speed we've set is here. So as I reduce this, it takes time for us to slow down. And press tab to go back to full speed, just like before, just like you've used. So here you can see the entire system and how much we can see with the triplex scanner. So you can see it's still quite small. However, we know the next sector over, the moon, is that away. One of the changes in Litcube itself, there's the gate, is it also removes the gate superstructure. So whether before they were giant rings, now they effectively look like spheres. And I think that's largely to stop things like, well, people colliding with them, I would assume. Otherwise, it's just a visual effect, but it's fine, like a lot of the changes. So, CETA, and over we go to the moon. And here we are at the moon. See? Told you. It's right there. And presumably we can still see the planet behind us. Yep, that's the jump gate. There's Earth behind us. Okay, so over here you can already see lots of stations around. And if we press the period key, we can see the map. Obviously, we're tiny even with that triplex scanner. So why don't we just fly to the center? Now you can do it by just double-clicking here if you want to be accurate. And then you can flip this sideways. And then we can also click down here and do it that way. And then we can deploy something out of the main plane of the sector, meaning that ships won't accidentally fly into it. Alternatively, if you want to do this the other way, and this is relatively reasonable as well, I think probably my preferred use is we press Shift C, press navigation, and press 9 for move to coordinates, and then we have to input something. So 0, minus 50k, 0. Okay, so 0, 0 is the two end ones, i.e. the center of the sector, and then minus 50k is 50k down. And you'll see that's where it's headed. And it will stop when it gets there, so you can just turn on CETA and it will get you to that exact point if you like everything to be nice and ordered and centered and perfectly laid out. My tendencies are to do that. Yours, may differ. Okay, so, and again, I just make sure we can do that well out of the plane of the sector. It's going to be down here somewhere, and that should be fine. And we're here. You can see at the very bottom of the screen we're at 0 meters per second, so we've arrived. And we can see almost nothing with even with this triplex scanner. You can see one orbital laser, and that's only because we passed it on the way down. However, that's about to change a little bit. So if we press F for freight, and then we go to our advanced satellites, we've got 15 of them. I'm going to basically eject. It'd be nice if there was an eject button for just one. However, if you press enter and then just go to select amount, press enter, default is 1, so that works fine. And lots of icons have appeared around the edge of my screen. Those are everything else in the sector. So if we go here, you'll see so much more stuff. Okay, so all the stations, things like solar power plants, but also all the way over here, you'll see this huge range of different stuff. And we go onto this side over here, we can start scrolling down. Lots and lots and lots of freight drones, okay? And then an advertising agency, diplomatic transports, dropships, emergency doctors, and everything else. So we'll continue to go through. Oh, in fact, oh, hang on. Is there a shipyard here? There is a shipyard here. Okay. So we're going to get our trade ship, which is the Baldric. Wonderful name. And we are going to give it some orders. So communicate, 1, navigate, dock, which is 3. And we're going to go to the moon and then tell it to dock to the shipyard. On the other ship, the Rapier, we'll just get it to actually fly to here. And that will work as well. Both of those will continue in the background. I didn't put a satellite in Earth. I'll look in here. The thing is that I think there's only one station in Earth, but maybe I should actually put a satellite back in there anyway. In any case, I can always go back if we need to do that in the future. However, for the moment, I will go and carry on all the way down to the bottom and continue through to Venus. We'll do the same thing there. And then while we're going doing that, our ships, well, one ship will dock, we'll sell it, and then we'll go and tell the other ship to go explore. And our Baldric has docked, so we're going to get rid of Baldric, and we're going to get 3 million credits for Baldric. I will take that any day. Yep. Now, our current ship is a Cutlass, and if you have a look at the price for that one, it's 5.3 million, so sort of at least 5.3 million. So I think I'll keep the one I have, thank you very much. It seems to be fairly capable. While we're at it, let's go to our Rapier and let's go and see if we can give it some orders. So communicate navigation, and then we can tell it, well, if it had satellites, it doesn't, but if it did, you can tell it to deploy a satellite network and it would go ahead and do that. However, we're doing it ourselves for the moment, or we can tell it to explore the universe. And I'm just going to tell it to explore the universe here. Okay, and hopefully it will actually do stuff. Explore universe, docking at safe place. Okay, not sure what it's actually going to do there, but it's docking. And we'll keep an eye on it that way. It's quite a cheap ship anyway, so we don't need to worry too much about that one. However, we do need to go over this way. So we're going to boost up and head through the west gate. And that should take us to... was it Venus? Venus, okay. And as I'm passing through the system, I'm just going to be looking on the map now that we have a satellite in this one, looking for missions as they pop up. And as soon as they do, for example, that one right there, that's a mission. So unfortunately, that's a very hard mission to kill someone. It's a military mission. But yeah, I'm going to be looking for some that we can actually do. Hopefully a few easy combat missions, just like we did at the start of X4. But with X4, I didn't do combat missions, I did repair missions. So yeah, something along those sort of lines. And also looking for offers of ships with hull damage between around 50 to 70%. They seem to be quite profitable. So you get the mission, it says, yeah, I'm going to offer you a sale of a used ship. It's got, let's say, 65% hull. You say yes, or assuming that you can afford it. You go there, you can repair it with your laser and your spacesuit, just like an X4, although it takes longer. And once you do that, you can then go and take it somewhere and sell it for profit. However, if you do it, just bear in mind you may want to wedge something onto your mouse button because it will take time to repair. It's not particularly fast to do so, at least at the start. Later on, we won't need to do that kind of thing, I don't think, so we don't need to worry about it. But it does get you a good start if you do see any of those missions. Not saying that you will. Where am I going? Let's just go to the same place. So, what was it? Down 50 kilometers. So, Shift C, 19. 0, comma, minus 50k, comma, 0. And we'll be heading down there. However, Venus happens to have a, or at least in the game, it doesn't have in real life, it has a whole trail of asteroids. So we may be able to get mining out here. One other thing, by the way, you can move the asteroids in Litcube. Yep, move them. The whole thing. In fact, you can even jump one asteroid into another asteroid to combine the two's yield, essentially. So yeah, if you want to build yourself a planet, if you can afford it, it's called the Plutarch something or other. I can never remember the name of it. But yeah, you can move asteroids. And while we're actually heading through Venus, I do want to point out this. This looks like an enemy. The Tanditech, sorry, not T-and-D-I, oh yeah. Tanditech Trader Dolphin Tanker. It's an enemy. Now, if you have a look at these the messages you got at the very start of the game, Dear Greatester, on behalf of the Tanditech Corporation, a subsidiary of the Fanon Corporation, Fanon's the enemy, I'd like to take this opportunity to personally extend to you my warmest greetings. Certain sponsors have put forth a venture capital of 400 million credits to start their organization. We don't get 400 million, they do. So, yeah, they are, well, a little bit of a competing corporation. All right, and they have established itself in Sanctuary of Darkness, and they'll be expanding outwards from there, is what they're saying. Not very nice of them to give us a warning about where they're extending from, as if we can just target them. Anyway, one further message. Okay. And then the second one is, yes, there is, it's become apparent that we're not alone in the Omicron channel of sectors. As of yesterday, Scoutships in unknown sector Omega, the fact you have multiple unknown sectors that you need code names for them is interesting, have reported sightings of what appear to be ships of Xenon and ancient terraformer make, assembling in proximity to the Xenon station. Okay, so while we're unclear of the intentions of the new entity of this possible threat Xenon in nature, we did urge that all scheduled jumps and passages to Tokyo Kappa be restricted. Okay, so, yep. More information will be available as Boron expedition teams continue to uncover the origin of his intentions. Their intentions are not going to be friendly. So, yeah, you can immediately harass anyone that you meet, including this poor little tanker, if we wanted to. I'm not going to worry about it to start off with, because I'm looking for missions to make us more money. However, you might want to. Okay, here we are in Mercury, and down here there is a mission from this Terran scabbard right near the south gate. I have already just dropped a satellite. So, in here we can communicate with them, and let's see what they're offering. Okay, so they're offering a scabbard, a 67% hull, so it's below 70%, good for me, and its price is 500,000 credits. Now, I think that sells for over 1 million, or at least that we can buy it for over 1 million. What we actually sell it for, hopefully it's the same price, but we'll see on that front at the shipyard. And 8 minutes, 16 seconds, well, I want to just accept it. It's 500,000, and we have our scabbard right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and follow it. That's Shift A, and we're going to go head over there. Once we get close, we'll see whether we can actually repair it. We should be able to. And then, of course, sell it. Okay, and we're quite close now, so I'm just going to get a little bit closer. Just remember to back off before you actually tell it to go anywhere, otherwise you'll slam into each other, and there will be a bad time all around. I'm going to press Shift E, and as I was approaching this ship, the pilot actually, took off and just jetted off across the sector in the spacesuit. Not quite sure if I'd advise doing that yourself, but we potentially have a new ship here. Cost us 500,000. Hopefully it sells for over 1 million in any case. Just use the usual controls. Just shift left click drag to move around with your spacesuit. There's our original ship. And here's our new one, and we should be able to repair it. So let's get a little bit closer. And let's slow down. And hold right click, I would have thought, once we get close enough. Yeah, let's try that again. We're going to get through its shields to actually repair it, fair enough. But we'll just hold down right click for a little while. You can see it's actually repairing a little bit slow, so I'm going to cut forwards until it's done. It's done, its shields are now regenerated, so I'm just going to head over back towards our ship and away from that one. So we'll just get close enough. There we go. to be able to press Shift E to get back in again. We don't have to actually dock with it like an airlock kind of situation like we do in X4. And I'm just going to use my lateral thrusters, the SAD, to just get away from this a little bit and back away. In fact, let's just move away at full speed, shall we? Yep, there we go. And behind me, I'm then going to tell this cutlass to go to the shipyard, and we'll see what it actually sells for. So, sorry, the scabbard, the cutlass. We're actually flying the cutlass. So comms, navigation, dock, and then we're going to tell it to go. There may be a dockyard in Mars. There is, sorry, shipyard. Yes, there is. So we'll tell it to go there.
Command accepted.
Okay, and it's going to head off. And you did also see the extent which I've explored. There's Mercury, Mars, Venus, the Moon, Earth, etc. So, given that Mercury's there, what's behind the East Gate? Heretic's End. So that's leaving the sort of nicely named systems that are near our solar system into other sectors entirely. I think I'm going to explore more back to the south towards Venus and then across towards Jupiter. I think that's the next one. However, our explorer ship is already doing that. So Explore Universe going to map asteroid belt. So it's already fairly far out. Yeah, is that via Mars? It probably is the west gate of Mars. Okay, so let's fast forward till that ship's at the shipyard and let's see if we get some profit. Alright, and our scabbard has now docked, so why don't we go and see if we can trade, and we get 967,000 credits. Now, it's not quite what it actually sells for new. If you look down here, scabbard new is 1.5, well, 1.6 effectively. We only get 967. That could be to do with the modules, could be to do with the sale price. However, that's 400,000 credits more than we had.
Scabbard.
So, we'll sell it. Absolutely. And let's just drop another satellite here. It'll certainly start to pay for the actual satellites we're dropping to get more intelligence. So here we are in the asteroid belt with, unsurprisingly, an asteroid belt. Oh, that's remarkably regular and nothing like the actual asteroid belt. But let's not actually go there. The asteroid belt really isn't all that populated. In any case, oh, there's our trader, handy tech guy again. Ah, well, never mind for now. We'll see him later. Alright, is there any actual other missions I can get in here? Nope. Just lots and lots of asteroids. So let's just fly through the South Gate and onto Jupiter. And here's another example of what not to buy. Baldric Hauler, 94%, 4.2 million. I already bought one of these from a different mission provider. I'll show you in a second, but I bought it for 900,000 or thereabouts with 57% hull. So if you can buy them for much cheaper, we should be able to get more profit. That said, I do actually have two ships. I have the Baldric Hauler, which I just talked about, and a Baldric Super Freighter, which I'm not sure we're going to profit on, but it was 2 million and 70-odd%, so maybe not so good for that one. In any case, both of those are actually relatively nearby. I can actually just divert them. I was sending them back to the moon, but it's probably easier to send them down here, navigation dock, and then come down here to where I am. Am I in Saturn 3 or Saturn... is there a shipyard? No. Must be Saturn 3. Yeah, let's tell them to come to here. And the same thing with this one. And we'll sell them and see if we get a profit. So I've spent about 3 million. We'll see what we get after selling. Alright, it's time to sell stuff up, I think. We've got our hauler and our super freighter docked. And let's see if I made any profit. Let's start with the hauler. Remember, I paid about 930,000, I think, for this. So let's go and see if we can trade. So, 1 second. Trade, and what do we get for this one? We will get 3 million. Yeah, just under 3 million. Good. From 900,000? Pretty good. I'll sell it. I'll do the same thing with the Super Freighter. Remember, this one was about 73% hull, and I paid about 2 million for it. So let's see what this says. And we will get 4 million. So even at 73%, we get an extra couple of million from that.
Baldric sold.
Love that phrase. In any case, we've made quite a few million from that. So let's just look at our... And I've also got this Braggy, or whatever that's supposed to be pronounced like. That's heading to a shipyard as well. I spent about 800,000 on that. That's another 50% shield, 50% hull. sort of area, 57 I think, 56, something like that. And yeah, so hopefully I'll make another couple of million on that. So if that's the case, we can go across to my palette status. And at the end of the first episode, with flying time of 6 hours, but that's including CETA, of course, so not really 6 hours. It's really just been about 45 minutes, condensed to about a 30-minute episode, and or maybe an hour, something like that. And our account is up to 7 million credits. Pretty good to get started. Have we got any? Yeah, we already have some sort of reputation gain with the ATF and Terran. So that'll be good. And our pirates, well, not great. But the pirates, I mean, what do you expect anyway? So that's pretty good for the start, I think. I'm going to carry on doing that off camera and get some more credits. And then well, hopefully you'll join me next episode for some more X3 Litcube's Universe. And we'll see where we get to from that. Another recommendation, by the way, is a chap on... excuse me, need to cough. A chap on YouTube... I think by the name of Dizzy, I want to say. Also has a very, very, very long playthrough of this game as well. So if you're looking for that, we start out extremely similar, but I probably will branch off in different areas. But again, do go and watch his channel. I will put his link in the description below as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. So if you have, feel free to give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe as you normally would. Always happy to hear your comments, of course. And you can join me next time for some more X3 Litcube's Universe. Thanks for watching.